Hi guys, I want to make a follow-up video of my previous video. Um, I just need to clarify something because it kind of bugged me a little bit. I realized when I was watching through my video that I never actually did an extrude of this part here. And I thought I did, and that's why I didn't actually see the updates to the big section here, which was confusing to me. So I originally said there was probably something with unparenting that prevented you from seeing your changes, but it's actually incorrect. I just want to make this video to show that you can actually update a model in the past even after you unparent it. So when you unparent it, you separate it from the original parent. So in this case, if you see up here, before it has been separated, it's sort of a slave of the original parent component as a single body. When you just separate it as a body, you will effectively create its own container for every other updates, and you can do those updates in here. And I'm gonna delete that one which I have on the timeline, and you can select where you want those specific updates to show. So in this case, the original video stated that he didn't really understand how he could find the or edit objects because they would sort of be misaligned on the sketches. The fix is that you can edit the objects in the past so that they follow through the timeline to the objects when you want to use them. Alternatively, you can, on the body itself, you could make a copy of the object and start making changes to that copy from that specific time in the timeline. And when you make a copy or a move of a body, it looks something like here on the timeline. So if I had taken this body here and I make a copy and I paste this, I get another body, and you see then you get this icon here. So then you can start working, you can hide the original one and you can start working on that icon. I'm not going to do that right now like this. So I have unparented this main component now, and I have rotated it like I did in the previous video, but I didn't extrude these objects on the sketch in the previous video, which in my head when I did that video I thought I did, so that's why I was confused. But if you can see here, I have selected the main component, but the component that is split out, this one is actually located. You can see you get these blue lines under it. It's physically located under the separated component, and that component does not have an anchor sign on it, so I have gone and unparented it from that section. You can reground it to the parent, but yeah. And you can right click and select activate, or you can just click on this to sort of view the timeline for that component. And now I can use the sketches from the previous timeline. Like here, I have it here, so I can go in and I can mark it like that, and I can activate it to see it, even though I'm still working on the other component. Now any changes I do, like an extrude, will show up on that component's timeline because it is the main component activated. Okay, so I'll go in and I'll leave that marked as the active component because I want that extrude to belong to that specific component in the timeline. So I go in and I just start by hiding the main body, and then I'll just temporarily hide the secondary body, and then I'll do an extrude of those two parts. Press E for extrude, and then I'll select symmetric, and let's say 4 millimeters symmetrical, and then I'll go and select cut, and now I get an error because it doesn't have a body to cut, but I'll showcase this one and I'll cut it and select OK. So now you get like a weird shape here because the body apparently was cut in the timeline. But that is because I did the cut after the object was made. Okay, so let's go back and delete that cut from the timeline, and then I'll just select the main component as the main object so I can see all the timeline, and I find the sketch in question. Okay, it's this one, and then I'll find the one that originally separated out the holes. It's this one. Okay, so I'll go and I'll left click and I'll drag the timeline to that one, and then I'll hide the main body because now it's sort of showing like they did before. I separate out of the component and select E for extrude there instead, symmetric, and I'll drag it out, let's say 4 millimeters, and I'll select cut, and I'll reselect the body, but this time the body is in the rotation it originally was at that time. Apologies for the break, my little one wanted milk. Okay, so since I'm in the past in the timeline, as you can see here, right after I extruded the 4 circular holes, I can do another extrude for body 2. But as you can see here, this is before the timeline where I made it into a component, so I can still make changes to it there. So I reactivated it, because without that you get the error saying no body was found. You can see here what objects it's targeting to cut, and then I just press OK. And in that point in time now, you will have the holes. So when I now move this slider to the future in the timeline, you will see that you have got the holes in the timeline showing after I rotated the object, even though the object is no longer grounded to the parent. So if I now rotate this object again, let's say I just want to move it out of alignment to here, and you select capture position, it still updates to that position. So let's just try and see if we can make another addendum. I'll go back here in the timeline. I'll go back to the sketching question, this one, and I'll edit the sketch, and I'll make a small object here. Very small, let's say make it 1 millimeter. Okay. And I finish the sketch. I'll temporarily hide the body, and I'll extrude that symmetrical, and I'll select join this time to make it part of the body, and I need to select the body I want to let this pass through, so it's passing through the secondary body, so I select that and select join. Now at that point in the timeline, I now have a part I joined to the main body. I'll just fillet that so that it looks like it's symmetrical, like this. Okay, okay. And now, when I slide back into the timeline, it even moves with this new object in the correct position. And that is how you properly work in a parametric modeling scheme where you work in timelines. So you can basically have that moving downwards in the timeline. Now, if I wanted to make changes that only affected this object from this point in time, I could go and I could select this one And I could, for instance, go and I could say, okay, I want a face, I want to make a plane there on that specific space where that component exists in the time, and create a sketch there. And now you can see that it doesn't align with the original sketch. And I can mark that, and I can select P for projection, and I can just select it to be construction line so it's not filling out everything. And then I could go and say, okay, I want to make another object here, and I'll make sure that is solid, and I'll finish the sketch. And let's say I want to make it extrude distance, let's say symmetrical here, and I'll select join. Then you can see there is a big pointer here, okay? And you see everything I'm doing now, because I selected that new component as the active component. Everything I do now is listed here. I can also go and click on the main timeline, and you see those as well, but they're only listed after that. So I'll go back and I'll select this. I'll just fill it that instead here, and I can fill it that like this. I can fill it even more. Now it's actually exceeding the boundaries. I don't want to do that, so I'll just leave it there. I'll press OK. So now you have a change made to that specific time in the timeline. And since it's not part of the original sketch that was up here, you cannot modify it there. You need to now modify it in the sketch that is under the body you had here. So if I hide this body, now you can see you have two overlapping sketches, but they need to be modified at different points in the timeline. Okay, so I could still go into this sketch in the past. I just go up here and I select the main, and you can see you have the sketch here. I can still go and edit that sketch. Let's say I want to make an ink cut here. Let's say I just want to make a cut there, and I want to put that everywhere. Let's see, I want to mirror that to the other side. Okay, let's mark that, and then we mirror that. Okay, and then we take those two and we mirror that to this side. Okay, finish sketch. Now you can see it hasn't shown anything yet. I'll go back into the timeline from before I had those, and I'll just make sure to show the bodies. And then I can say, okay, I want to not view that body yet. We are behind in the timeline, so I'll show that body, and the fillet, it's not bugging, so it should be there. That is the fillet for that. I want to go back, and actually I want to suppress that feature now because I want to cut it. And then I want to go before that, and I want to activate the body, and now I can go and actually it's easier if you just hide the whole body. I'm just doing that to illustrate. Actually, you can just go and do like this, just this inner parts, because it already cut them out with the boundaries of the solid lines. You can extrude that, take it symmetrical, and then I just select cut, and then I select the body to cut. It's this one. Okay, there. Now if I had not hidden the other fillet that comes after this, then it would become invalid because I have to remove the edges that it actually controlled. Okay, so now I've got this, and you will see that I can fillet the edges here instead, like this. And then I can go and I can also do the same thing to this. Hold Control and just click the extra lines you want to fillet. It's an easy way to do it. Okay, so now I made a totally new shape here. Instead of filleting the edges, I made like a curved fillet instead. Okay. Now all I have to do now is drag this way to the side. Now you have, in essence, got the new shape, but it's also rotated to the correct position, and you still have the new shapes that you made here. So I hope that is a good way to show that when you make changes to your objects, even though you move them, they can still follow. So I'm sorry about the previous video where I got a little bit confused, and I'll put this up as a small fix. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.